Greetings. No Christian in the entire world will ever be willing to debate me based on my experience, because they know that they will be proven wrong. And my experience is with the burning bush that doesn't consume. And I can tell you that the voice in the burning bush that doesn't consume is the voice of a black man. A black man with Ethiopian features. You see, everything I will ever say to you is based on what I would have experienced. Therefore, no one will debate me when I say that the Bible is an African book and it has been stolen from us and it has been manipulated. And the only how anyone could come to this realization is through experience. That is the reason why when I was 17 years of age, I was given the coat of many colors, which is the rainbow, as a halo around my head. And it was when I was 30 years of age, while listening to a certain white man who many millions of people, I should say, around the world believe this man to be a prophet and believe him to be last day prophet. And I didn't know who he was. Okay, some tape was given to me while I was working at the post office because they didn't want to just burn everything. And the woman was a Christian woman named Miss Jones. So she called me because she knew how much I was zealous for the work of God. And she told me that they were there for over 2 years. No one has ever come for them. And, you know, they normally go and they normally burn, you know, these things at the government printery, which was close to the post office at the time while I was working there. And so she gave them to me, and I could remember quite vividly the very first message I listened was God is known by his characteristics. Okay? And to cut a long story short, at the time I didn't know William Branham was a student of the Imperial Wizard of the KKK, a man by the name of Roy E. Davis. And I didn't know that they would have planned a scheme to spread a fake gospel all around the world and make millions of dollars. The Jehovah Jireh Foundation is bringing in like 100 million a year and so on. I didn't know none of those things. And after when I had that experience, the spirit in me told me to go and join myself to them and that until was 7 years. You see, all of that was a part of my training. And so from a little boy growing up, I was trained for this. Every church I've ever put my foot into, preachers almost wanted to go crazy. They all time say that I've been set apart, I've been called for a great work, for a mighty work, I'll be used mightily by God. But I've not been used the way they think I will have been used by the way how they receive their teaching. Okay, not from the ecclesiastical cloth. Okay, so everything I will ever say to you is some experience. Because when I speak about having the birth from above, the birth from the skull, the virgin birth, and I show you that Isaiah 7:14, okay, it's all about, you know, it's all about a sign, you know, of a man giving birth. You read that in the Bible where you say, behold, I show you a sign, a virgin shall conceive. And you would realize it's the mystery of a man giving birth. And so there's no one who will be willing, okay, to ever debate me when I say that the Bible is not literal, neither is it secular history. They would not be able to debate when I say that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. Because how are we going to open your mouth and speak if a word is not a thought expressed? And when a preacher preaches a sermon, isn't it expression of a thought? And what can you tell me that was done in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation that wasn't first a thought or first an idea or first imagine? And could you disprove the fact that the oldest Bible is the Ethiopian Bible? Could you disprove the fact that black people had Christianity thousands of years ago before the Europeans or the colonizers? Could you deny the fact that the earth from which everything is being grown from, it is the same like my complexion? So my brother and my sisters, whether black people or white people, none of them can prove me wrong. And the reason why I'm actually doing this video, because I see a lot of people, you know, are talking about this man, Billy Carson, okay? And, you know, when I hear this man quote the amount of books that he read and so on, I know that he can be easily chopped, okay? And when I see the allowing him, you know, to go viral, you know, on the internet, I know they were setting a trap for him, okay? Because you see, you can't read these books that many of these same people put in writing and say that you have facts. The only true knowing is experiential. You have to have experience. So when I speak, I'm speaking from experience. So no one can tell me of any woman thousands of years ago who was a Caucasian woman or some white woman or some woman from what they call the place, Israel. Nobody can fool me, okay, and tell me that she opened her legs and gave birth to some blonde hair blue boy, to some man in the so-called Israel, which they try to make you believe is a Middle Eastern place, when they use the Suez Canal to separate Africa, when Africa is the biggest and richest and would always be the biggest and richest continent there is. When I look around and see all of the ills of colonialism and mental slavery, and the effect of what slavery would have done, how people could have any form of real true Christian principles come from a civilized background and go everywhere raping and maiming and killing all the indigenous people and stealing their land, stealing everything from them. How could that be? So we all time knew that the man in the sun is a black man, because the born in bush represent the sun, you know. That's why I teach the inner sun science and technology to create your reality consciously. For the sun parallels the human imagination, the human imagination parallels the sun. Without the sun, there's no life and there's no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And they trick you, give you a white idol. And when you read St. John 1 and 3, and you read that without him, there isn't anything made that was made, and all things was made by him, and you fail to realize that it is a personification that represents the human imagination, you would be trapped in idolatry. So the black church, what they call the black church, believing in Jesus, believing in the crucifixion to be literal, and believing the Christmas where they give them the snowman. No, the snowman represents what they're hiding behind the ice. Is the man from behind the ice they're showing you. Because you have the ice man, okay, and which is the snowman, and you have the sun man. The basic common sense is the law of polarity. It's the law of opposite. So they can't come and debate me when I say that the Bible is psychological, because you have to use your psyche to debate me. So whether you try to debate me, I don't try to debate me, you prove me right. You know how long I've been entertaining Christians in my country when I tell them that the foundation of my whole teaching is that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically, that it is not literal, neither is it basically a secular history. Okay, it must be understood metaphysically and esoterically. It must be pointing to look inwardly, not outwardly. And you know, they would use their psyche to disagree with me. You see, this is the thing you have to get. You are physical, you are psychological, and you are spiritual. So when I speak about Africa and I speak about black people, that is me showing you the physical side. Okay, but remember, the spiritual was always false. Okay? So when you understand it, you'd realize what they do after they stole everything from us, including our spiritual science. Okay? What they do, they teach it to you on one level. So they keep you at the level of the animals, where you can see, taste, touch, and smell. And what they do, they use fear. That's why Christianity that they have is based on fear. But real true Christian Science. I want to say Christian Science. You understanding the Christ consciousness. You understand the Christ oil based on the melanin you have in your body, which is basically the invisible fluid to help you to transcend. And you realize that black people, melanated people, can transcend faster than any other people on the face of this earth. So it's like let me put it this way to make it simple. It's like someone who could only run about, say, 100 meters, and they could only run it in, say around 13 seconds, around 13, and so on, and Bolt could run it in 9. Okay? And so you decide to tie up Usain Bolt your feet to take part in this race. Of course, the other person gonna win. You understand? It's the same thing they basically do to us. That's why most of us have to work 10 times harder to achieve certain things in life, because of how the system is set up. But because, these people never really had a true spiritual system, because they came from the cave. Okay, then if you really check out Caucasian people, they do not have a spiritual system, even though they persecute all our ancestors and so on, right? Like, for example, in the Caribbean, you have the spiritual Baptists. And the spiritual Baptists will tell you what they do basically came from Africa. But what they wouldn't tell you is that it's been polluted and given back to them. So they were first persecuted. So like in my country, the prime minister, who, if you really chase his background, is a white man. Okay, he come from a white seed all the way back to between Spain, Portugal, Gonzales. Okay, but yeah. So, and he giving them like holiday for the Baptist holiday and so on and all of that. And they feel good about all of that. You know what I mean? And so on. And he try to give certain, recognition to spiritual Baptists. But what they have, I know the whole science, you know what I mean? And it's been polluted. They make sure they pollute it. Okay? So, my brother, my sisters, everything I'm saying to you, I know what I am talking about, because I'm speaking to you from experience. There's the only thing that these fake people fear of is a self-realized black man. A man who truly comes to his Christ consciousness. A black Christ walking on this earth. Because he know the lie is not a belief thing, He know. I know. Going on the pulpit and preaching and like Gina Jennings and all these people, I know it's a bunch of bullshit they're talking. I know they all were dumb. 2020 with COVID. 2020 to 2022, all the men who say they are men of God, all the men who say they are prophetess and all the prophets, they were silent. They were controlled by the system how much people could go in the building. They make them stick up things in the church saying to wash hand and do all of these things. And I went into a church in that time and pulled down the things that was in the church and tell the pastor that God never tell him to do that. He said he was going to call the police. And before that, man, he used to go back and forth and he used to tell me, I need Jesus, this and that. And there was a brother in his church who used to say, I'm not his brother. You understand? And I went there one night and I challenged him and I did that. And then when he said he was going to call the police, I told him I have my printer at home and it have ink right now, and I'll print it and bring them back the next day for him. Okay? And afterwards, then the scripture came to me. Afterwards, that the zeal of my father's house have eaten me up. Because I know it was very strange to me, because I normally don't go to church, you understand? So I say I saw I see the fulfillment of scriptures, and there's many examples I can give to you. But to cut a long story short, not just recently I meet that pastor and I say, see what I was telling you? And this hypocrite is trying to tell me he always knew that this COVID thing was fake and it wasn't real. If you know that, you challenging a man who been called and sent, a chosen vessel. You telling that man that you're going to call the police and you expect that your church going to grow and prosper, it ain't going to happen. I remember a man, and you could watch and see he's basically a white man, okay? And you could trace his whole lineage way back. and see, yeah, he's basically a white man, blonde everything, you know what I mean? But because like he lived down in this party and thing, you know, he look a little, you know, blending a little bit, you understand? But he's a white man. I remember he came up in my face in time of COVID because I didn't want to go ahead with certain things, you know what I mean? Like wash and do those kind of shit on the outside. I was going into a store. I can't remember if I was going there to deliver something to someone, okay? Came up in my face and carry on. And I leave him. I didn't say anything. You know, I could have commit myself with him. You understand? But I know what I'm working with, and I know I have supernatural forces, you understand, on my side. But to cut a long story short, right now he's out of business. His whole business shut down. His whole business shut down. And you know what he had called the name of his store? Cloud9. So he come from up there. Because when you understand the power 9, you know, I know I come from the 9th level. So you're attacking a man who come from the 9th level, and what you want to call your business Cloud9? Shut down business. So my brother and my sisters, those who want to challenge me, they want to challenge God. They want to challenge the man from the burning bush that doesn't consume. So go ahead, challenge me. Tell me I lie. Tell me I trying to fool black people. Like how many of them trying to fool their own people for a buck. My brothers and sisters, I can go on and on and on, but these people could only have strength for people like Billy Carson. Because they know Billy Carson is coming across like a historian, just talking about books he read and so on. And then he was rubbing shoulders with them. That's why I always sit again and again and again. Whenever I see a melanated man playing, talking certain things, you know, I just have to watch his wife. I watch any wife, see who he mixing his seed with. Because as I said in another video, and I sit again, go read Numbers chapter 25. And you go see the man with the javelin. The man from a certain priesthood. With the javelin, who gonna push it through the stomach of the woman. Cosby, eh? Kill the child. Put an end to that seed. Hybridization. That's why I can't listen to people like Candace Owens, you know. These people are sickness on the planet. Yeah. All these interbreeding and all of these things and this interracial relationship is a sickness. You see, that's why you never find me by the street, by the end of the street kind of talking about the Hebrews and like carrying on, you know. I know what I experienced. So how the hell I could be listening to a man who was secretly a part of the KKK, just listening to him, do not know anything about the man, and was told within to put on some different clothes. I think I was in a vest, and I put on a long sleeve shirt and so on, I put on a long pants, and I was told to go and lie down right now. I'll be give my dream. And I went the same time and lie down, and I dream. And the dream lasted from the time I put my head down to when I actually wake up in the morning. That's when I meet the man from the burning bush that doesn't consume. That when I was 30 years of age. And then when I was 17, given the rainbow. And then when I reached 4 and 5, 45, I had the bolt from the skull. You telling me? And because I could go into certain things, you know, because what happened, they're keepers of time. So there are certain people who they could say, use an example and say, like for example, they could say, oh, Neville Goddard say, yeah, that same kind of thing, it's different. And they had the biggest business in this country, Neville Goddard family. And they was the first people, the first company to institute that all the workers have to take the COVID injection. Even people who was there on probation, they implemented for them, they had to take it to actually hold the job. You tell me, it's a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. You understand? And I could see the pattern and all the people who own certain businesses in the country and so on. And the last people moving is the Butch Stewart family with the Sandals Resort. And then they have this green forest and they're buying out all the fishes and this and that from the people who wasn't packaging them and so on. Come on. When you're waking as a black man, trust me, you would know the law of polarity and understand the polar opposite. When you understand these people and what they're doing. Okay. So, my brother and my sisters, you know, I'm not afraid to speak the truth. Because, you know, I'm not impressed by how much views and so on and all of that. Okay. Before the internet and so on, there are many ways that message been passed around. And, you know, you have telepathic powers, you have psychic powers. Okay. So I could go on and on and on. But my brother and my sister, this is a message to really wake people up. And I'm going to continue to make more and more of these messages. More and more of these videos, I should say. And I'll continue to speak about the man from the burning bush that doesn't consume until the day I leave this planet. How is it, boy? How is it? They was showing me everything they're showing me about the Bible. They're showing me it white. Except the devil. Except Judas. They used to want to show Judas as a black man. I have to laugh. I really have to laugh. I really have to laugh. Everything they show you. I remember days growing up as a little boy watching Jesus of Nazareth. Because every Good Friday, so-called Good Friday, to be showing that. Yeah, and what they call it Christmas. No, they're showing you about some little baby born in a little table. Huh? Man, when you experience the spiritual boat, man, nothing can continue. What you think this whole thing with devil got at? Why you think devil got to talk about he bringing in a black man named Abdullah? Any angle they come from, you know, they chop. if he's lying, he chop still. And if he ain't lying, they still chop. That's why my book, The Black Mystic from Ethiopia, never got that mental when people read it, they just get angry. So, you know, as a matter of fact, a white man reached out to me and tell me he bought the book, but he haven't got it yet. I have to make sure to tell him that he have to be strong to read it because your ancestors lied to him. Your ancestors have lied to you. You know, they just want to tell us, oh, well, black people used to sell black people and enslave black people and so on, right? Okay. Let's say give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's true. They betray, your own people betray you. Well, you're not accepting that your own people lie to you too. And brainwash you and deceive you too. Accept it. It's the truth. Don't let nobody fool you. You understand? The oldest Bible is the Ethiopian Bible. The man in the burning bush. That doesn't consume. That will give you your commission, trust me. The melanated man. So, this is what I would say as I come to a close here. Always see God in your image and in your likeness. No other image, no other likeness. That's why the Chinese, their Buddha look like them. The Indians, it doesn't matter how much gods they have, it look like them. The only people who serving a God that doesn't look like them is black people. They give you a white idol. Come on, man, you can't really see how two races. And one did enslave the other. The same thing with Islam too. Okay, because you have to understand the Atlantic slave trade and understand the Sahara slave trade too. You have to understand the two of them, okay? So, my brother and my sisters, it's time for people to really wake up and to accept the truth and accept that there's a living man on this earth who would have had the Christ consciousness experience, who would have experienced the Bible, okay, in his life. And the whole story about Moses and the Exodus. White people and the Exodus. Ooh, I will laugh. Show you Moses a white man. It's a joke. It's a joke. You see, so my brother and my sisters, you know, I'm saying this, you know, because I have to speak the truth. I have to speak the truth. I can't do nothing else but speak the truth. I have nothing against no one. I just have to speak the truth, okay? So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to thank you very much for listening to me. I want to say to you, if this is the very first time you listen to me, what I'm saying, if it makes sense to you, if it really resonates with you, and you haven't subscribed already, I'm definitely encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. Also, if you like to follow me on Instagram, you like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely follow me at BlackMadGuru. Okay? And whatsoever you desire, all of the links are down below. You want my books, the links are down below. Okay, you want to be a part of my Patreon community, the links are down below. And for those on my Patreon who are donating $20 or more, you have access to a course called the Inner Sun Science and Technology to create your reality consciousness. And along with that is a bonus course and self-concept. So check out everything that is down below and let your intuition lead you and guide you into what to do. You remember Cat Williams in 2024, all lies would be exposed. It is the truth. From 2024 onwards, all the lies will be exposed and many feelings gonna get hurt while those fellas will be working more harder and harder and to get AI up and going. They have a big agenda, so you better wake up. Peace.